strategy that empowers families to create a legacy for their children without having to be wealthy. Here's a cool stat. Only 20% of children will receive an inheritance. Only 20% of children will receive an inheritance. Now, some people have different opinions on this, but some people say, oh, I don't want to leave my kids an inheritance. They're going to spend all that money and all this stuff. Well, it depends how you raise them, right? But here's the thing. I believe generational wealth is a responsibility for us, to really give to our families, to the next couple of generations, because why wouldn't you, right? This world's getting crazy. Why would you want your kids to be broke in this crazy world and have that be an additional form of stress in their life, So if we understand the $1 million baby and how we can create generational wealth, we're really going to give our kids a better future, right? It's time to rethink how parents leave a legacy. So if you're a parent on this call, this is an amazing opportunity for you to learn this stuff. If you're not, even better, because you are going to get to learn how to really set up your kids with this stuff. So let's go on with the next one. Okay, so which legacy plan is more realistic for you? Option 1. Would you rather leave each of your children $1 million inheritance from your personal savings, or grow $1 million retirement for each child, starting with a small fraction of that when they're young? Option 1, option 2. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And either option can create a strong legacy for your children, but option 2 is far more doable for most parents today, right? Starting with something small and working your way up. So here are the 3 realities of this concept. So it might seem unlikely because longevity is a big thing. People are living longer. Parents will need to fund more savings for longer life. Medical bills. I saw the statistic and I was like, wow, the average retiree will spend $122,000 on medical care from the age of 70 to the end of their life. Right, and some of you folks on this call have parents that are past their 70s, and you can see how that can be detrimental to people's finances. I know Johanna's grandmother went through this as well. How much money they had to come up with to really take care of an elderly person, and that's important. And then long-term care. 70% of people over 65 years old will need some type of long-term care service. So if you plan on living past 65, or if you know someone in your family that will more than likely make it past 65, it's important they understand the importance of owning long-term care, right? It can cost anywhere from $70,000 to $390,000 based on the average of basically 4 years of long-term care needed, right? So all these things are realities that we're facing, and we're basically have to make sure we have a way to prepare for them. So that could be worth over $1 million, right, over a lifetime. So since it's so hard to leave an inheritance today, why not use the greatest financial asset a child has to build a foundation for the retirement income, right? And that asset, guys, for every single one of us on this call, not just as child, is time, right? So time is our biggest asset, and we have to make sure we take advantage of that. So here are the 3 simple money concepts. Number 1, we've seen this time and time again: compound interest, time value of money, and wealth protection. So compound interest, well, obviously the rule of 72, we're going to go over again here. Time value of money, making sure your money is saved, the earlier the better, and protecting your wealth. So the true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. That's a powerful concept, right? So could you save $1 million for your child? Here's 2 examples from Dana and Hector. The following 2 examples are hypothetical, right? So what if you put away $13,000 for each of your children? One-time lump sum that grows from birth to the age of 67. Assuming a 6.5% return, this is what that looked like. $13,000 for the next 67 years, assuming 6.5% return, which is pretty average, will give you $1 million by the age of 67. That's Dana's examples. Time frame number 2, let's say she decides to wait a little longer. Dana's like, you know what, man, I need to come up with $13,000 first. Give me 18 years. And then she puts that away for her child at 18. Assuming 6.5%, by the time her child is 67 years old, they have $311,000. Isn't that crazy? So same amount of money, but just an 18-year difference. right? So you might have a little one right now, and you're like, oh my goodness, like how much am I putting away? Example number 2. And by the way, this example might seem like who has $13,000 laying around? Not that many people, right? So example number 2 might help. What if $2,500 was put down and $250 was added every month for 4 years for each of your children? Kind of cool. $2,500, $250 a month for 4 years. By the time they're 65, they have $1 million. Does that seem more doable? Right? $2,500, still a lump sum, but not $13,000. But then you got to put in $250 a month for 4 years. And then you'll have $1 million baby. Kind of cool. But what if you do the time frame number 2? What if $2,500 was put down and $250 was added every month for 4 years? Is that the same example? Am I tripping? Okay, but they're 18 years old. So now, same thing. They decide to wait till they're 18 to do this, and now the lump sum is $313,000 by 67. Guys, time is our biggest asset, right? And by the way, here's a little tip for you guys as far as marketing goes. Take a screenshot of this, post it on your social media, tag somebody that you know has kids, and let them know. So this is something I always do, like just let people know, get their attention. This content right here, guys, is worthy of a screenshot, so make sure you take advantage of that. So those 2 things are important, and that example just gives you perspective. According to data in the United Nations, 250 children are born in the world every minute. Imagine how different their lives would be if every family created a savings plan for their children that couldn't be touched until retirement, right? And here's Dana and Hector's comments. Wow, this would give children greater freedom to explore, fail, and find their purpose throughout their lives because their parents took one revolutionary step for them. You start saving before you start walking. I love it. It's like every child is born $1 million baby. Isn't that cool, right? Is this inspiring anyone to have some kids? No? Okay, good. No. Too crazy. All right. So there's a variety of ways the $1 million baby strategy can be structured for families, right? So here's going to be a couple examples that we're going to give you guys. And here's the mindset, a mindset tip, right? Most people think, man, I hate to say it, but my kids will probably have to fend for themselves. Didn't I tell you that's how most people think? They'll be lucky I don't end up moving into their basement. And that's the reality most people live, right? How the wealthy think. If there's an affordable way to set up my kids to be taken care of in their later years, my family and I will get it done. Find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? So maybe, how are you thinking right now when it comes to your kids or your future kids? What comes to mind? Are you the sucker? No? Okay. No. So now, this all makes more sense with the rule of 72. Just to kind of back it up with some evidence, the rule of 72, as you guys know, this is a tool that we use for families, and it's simple. And you might be like, oh my God, here we go, the rule of 72 again. But here's the thing. There's a cool concept. Me and John were just looking at this PowerPoint before we started the BPM, and we're like, oh my God, I didn't even know we can do this, right? And this is basically back engineering the rule of 72. So as you guys know, you get the number 72, and you divide it by the rate of return that you get on your investment. And that equals the number of years it takes your money to double. So if you get a 1% return, it takes 72 years for your money to double, right? So the question here is, what rate of return are you getting in your investment? If you're putting your money in like a CD or like a high yield savings account at the bank, you're getting a 1% return. So in 72 years, your money will double. That's what most people do. But what if you get a 3% return? What if you're trying to keep up in place with inflation? That means your money will double every 24 years. What if 12 years? You get 6%. 9% return, your money double every 8 years. And then a 12%, your money double every 6 years. Right? Steady, but growing. I'm 19 years old and I just received a $10,000 inheritance. If I wanted to grow it to $1 million by retirement.
Dean, let's go. Go tell him, remind him now.
if I wanted to grow at $1 million by retirement, how many doubles and what interest rate do I need? That's a great question, right? So you have $10,000. By the way, Scott's client came to him, hey, I have this inheritance. If I wanted to grow it to $1 million by retirement, how many doubles and what interest rate do I need? Take a look. You'll need more than 9% interest and almost 7 doubles to reach $1 million by age 67 with just a $10,000 lump sum. So here's a little chart and basically explaining to you every percentage point that matters, right? And there's an opportunity for you guys to see the different rates of returns and how many and what age it'll double. So if for a 19-year-old, by the time she's 67, it'll double every 72 years. Oh my God, that's a 1%. With a 3%, she'll be 43, and then obviously and so on. Look at the 12%, guys. They're 9 to 12% range. Oh my, like the percentage is just like in compound interest just starts literally working its magic, right? And so this is something that's basically called delayed gratification and just having patience. And this is something that it's a virtue for people. But once you see examples like this, it should inspire you to kind of, you know, set some money aside little by little, no matter how small or how big. It does matter, right? So what about the example, the 1% example? 72 divided by 1% is 72 years. Remember about the bank, what I told you guys? There's $10 trillion in bank accounts right now earning less than 1%. $10 trillion. And the reality is, who's making money off of that? The bank, right? What is the bank doing with your money? They're putting it to work, right? And once you learn how banks work, folks, I mean, you're probably not going to want to have a bank account anymore because it's a business, man, and it's a pretty cutthroat type of industry, type of business. It's an old way of doing business in this country, and that's where this country is in so much debt because there's this greed, you know, in this economy. So this is the realistic example. If you have Chase, if you have Wells Fargo, right? If you have, you know, Bank of America, this is what they're giving to you. 72 divided by 0.1%, your money will double in 720 years, right? I'm sure your great grandchildren will be thrilled with that inheritance, right? If you're in 2020, your money will double in 2,740, right? It'll become $2. Your $1 will double finally. So this is such a crazy concept to understand, and I don't know why we don't learn this early on, but this is important. However, 16% is the average interest rate on a credit card offered by banks. Interesting. So they give you 0.1, but they charge you 16 if you want to borrow money. 72 divided by 16, your debt will double every 4.5 years. So here's what I want you to do. If you're on this call and you have debt, I want you to look at your credit cards. And I want you to look at the interest rate you get on your credit card. And more than likely in California, it's down here, it's probably like 22%, 28%, like crazy interest rates. So divide it by 72, and then how fast will your debt double? So is the financial system currently setting you up for success or for failure right now, right? And the thing is, how old are most people when they're getting into debt, right? Most people fresh out of high school are getting into debt. I remember I forgot my first credit card when I was 18 years old. And this is a crazy story, but my uncle used to work at Wells Fargo during the time Wells Fargo was doing some shady business, right? And this was more than 10 years ago. And I remember my uncle calling me. He'd tell me, like, let's get you a credit card. And I was like, whatever, sure. And later I found out that Wells Fargo was basically pressuring their employees to open credit cards and basically just threatening them that they're going to get fired. And there was a big lawsuit and a big settlement, all that stuff happening. But the reality is that's what the financial system set up like, right? And so if we understand this stuff, we're able to like basically avoid these things and teach them to kids and teach them to people around us, our family members, our communities, right? If you have somebody on this call that you invited just to learn about this, what did Johanna say? We have 3 more classes, left about financial literacy. Invite somebody that you care about to this call next Saturday, right? So that's insane. I don't know about unscrumptious means, but now I know why banks customers give you suckers, right? And this is why you don't want to become a sucker. You ever go to the bank and there's like a line to wait to talk to the teller, what do they give you? They give you a little sucker while you wait, right? Because they're literally telling you, hey, here's a sucker, like, yeah, dum-dums. You guys remember when they were called dum-dums? So is this starting to make sense now? Why is the sucker thing a thing? This is why, because that's what they give you while you're waiting to get a 0.1% return on your bank account, and then taking out a loan at 16 to 30%, basically. That sucks, right? So that's the reality of it. Yeah. And then you got to like pay for the sucker, right? So the rule of 72 works the other way too, and this was the concept I was talking about. So you might be thinking, how many years do I have left to save? So Karina, for example, your example was your comment was very important for everyone on this call to understand. So you're thinking, okay, if I'm this age, how many years do I have left to save so I can enjoy my retirement wealth, and then use that number to basically get the rate of return you need. So you still get the number 72, you divide it by the years left that you have to save, and then that tells you, hey, this is the rate of return I need in order to get this amount. So this is an example. I have $500,000 in a retirement account, and I'm 57 years old. Are you saying that if I want my money to double to $1 million, which is 10 years from now, I can divide 72 by 10 to get the interest rate? You can, right? And then you get your interest rate of 7.2%. 7.2 to double your money if you have 10 years left. So here's the thing. Most of us don't have $500,000 laying around, right? If you've been working for a company for a while and then you have some sort of retirement savings, investments, and things like that, use this, and then you can basically figure out your FIN number that way as well and get a chance to kind of predict the future. How suckers think. The rule of 72 sounds like math. Boring, right? But here's how wealthy people think. Hey, math rocks. The rule of 72 is simple, powerful, and very practical, right? And we got to use it to our advantage. So once you know how money works, you'll be compelled to ask questions like these. Is a bank account the best place to put my money? Am I willing to settle for 1% or even a 2%, right? Or is there a way I can get 4 or 6 or perhaps even higher? What type of higher interest rates accounts still provide adequate safety? That's a great important question to ask yourself. This is what most people ask themselves. Can I finance or refinance my car loan or mortgage with a lower interest rate? Will the financial institution managing my money earn more interest than I will? Will I get enough doubles during my income earning years to reach my savings goal for retirement? If not, what do I need to change? Super, super important, and such a just valuable information that we're learning here. And that right there, guys, is the end of the class 1 that Johanna did last week. We're going to jump straight to class 2 and give you guys the next couple. By the way, you guys already watched this video, but the next couple topics that we're going to talk about for the next coming weeks, okay? So part 2 is the 7 money milestones, right? And by the way, before we move on to this, I really want you guys to ask yourself, man, am I willing to make the shift to start setting some money aside for my kids, my family, my little ones, whatever that case may be? And if you already are, just reevaluate that and kind of see how that's going to look like in the future and if you need to increase it or not. And then also be thinking, like, who do I know that right now that has kids that needs to learn this, right? Who do I know right now that has children that needs to learn this? And then make a list of that stuff. And by Monday, when we come to Phone Zone, then you have a list to call, or if you want to call them right after BPM, you can. So those are tangible things that you can take advantage of as we speak. So the 7 money milestones. This is an awesome topic. So the 7 money milestones. Screenshot this, save it, because this is what we're going to go over for the next couple of weeks. These are the 7 money milestones in order to reach financial security and financial independence. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is financial education and proper protection. So financial education and proper protection are the weeks for today, and then the next couple of weeks we're going to cover the next few, okay? So here's number 1, financial education. To become financially literate and financial professional. Number 2 is proper protection. Protect your income and your savings. Then we talk about emergency funds and unexpected expenses. I know Kyle and Hako did a couple trainings about this stuff, and Scott as well. Debt management is the next one. Changing your spending habits, eliminating debt. Cash flow, number 5. Earn additional income and manage expenses. Number 6 is building wealth, understanding taxes and the impact of that stuff, and protecting your wealth, creating a will, an estate plan, and all that stuff. So we're going to go over financial education number 1. Becoming financially literate and finding a financial professional is actually how you maximize your financial education. So in the war for your money, there are essential tools you'll need to win. The first tool you'll need is financial education. So it's important to pick up one of these books called How Money Works. And if anyone has a link to that thing, like, please just post it on the comments so people can find that. Because that's an extraordinary resource that you can use to give to your clients, to give to people that you care about. And it's something that's important. If you guys need a book, I do have a couple extra ones. Just let me know and I'll get a chance to give you one. But not everyone, because I don't have enough for everyone. So if you read the book, How Money Works, and you've done the first class, which you just completed, the master class part 1, you're well on your way to a solid financial foundation, right? The second thing was you got to find a financial professional, right? So I think we're set here, but at the same time, we can always, review our stuff. Work with a financial professional to provide continuing education, guidance, and resources to help make decisions about your money and your future. That right there, my friends, is what we do, but we have to make sure we continue to do it. It's not just a one-time deal, right? I remember Jason was just talking about how he got a plan from Andrew and Brittany, but I'm sure they're reviewing that plan consistently, right? To make sure they're on track with those financial goals. So Dana, you're a smarty pants. Can I get a chance? Can I get you to be my financial pro? You're sweet, George, but you need someone licensed and trained to do so, right? Don't hike this mountain alone. It's time to put everything you learn into action with a financial professional. Thank you, Kiko. Thank you, everyone, for putting that book on the chat. And the point of a financial professional is for you guys to crunch numbers, right? To have a path, to choose a product, to stay accountable, and make sure you're making the right choices along the way. Without local guides, your enemy employs the land as a weapon against you. Sun Tzu. You guys seen that before? Without local guides, your enemy employs the land and weapons against you. That's important. Proper protection. We're going to dig into this today for the rest of this call, and we're going to basically talk about insurance. So protecting your income and protecting your savings is the most, I would say, adequate way to explain life insurance. How do you protect your income? How do you protect your savings? You want to make life insurance fun? Talk to people in that language, right? You want to protect your income? You want to protect your savings? Guess what? That's how you do it. Ironically, protecting your income and your savings is called life insurance. Isn't that interesting? Right? Most of us have never seen life insurance like that. Most of us are more than likely thinking of death insurance, right? And yeah, we do provide death insurance for people, a death benefit, but life insurance is actually what we are specialized in. The protection of a man's person is more sacred than the protection of property. Certainly, self-preservation is paramount. But here's the thing. You might not be able to fully protect yourself from illness or accidents, but you can protect your income and you can protect your wealth, right? It's a defensive strategy motivated by a sense of love and responsibility, or both, right? So here's the thing about life insurance, guys. Whenever you do face certain people that don't believe in life insurance, first of all, it's not a belief to believe in life insurance. It's really just a sense of love and responsibility for the people that are around you and your future, right? So if you think about life insurance, it's really a sense of love and responsibility for you, yourself, your family, and your future family. That's what life insurance is about, right? So some of you guys on this call, I bet, there's always one or two people don't have life insurance yet. Maybe they can't qualify. I get it. But at the same time, some people just haven't taken that step to get to actually, get some life insurance. And just understand, it's a sense of love and responsibility for your future. That's all it is. And it protects your income and your assets, which is cool, right? So how do you calculate life insurance? How do we find out how much insurance is enough for us? So as we know, when we collect the financial needs analysis, we're able to do this for every client. Most of us don't actually know how to do it, because when you input it in the F&A and it does it for you, but let's actually learn how it's done. So here's a rule of thumb, and the rule of thumb says 10 times your annual income is what you should get insured for. But there's a lot of factors behind it. So if you make $50,000 a year, you should have $500,000 of coverage. If you make $100,000 a year, you should have $1 million of coverage. If you're making $500,000, you should probably aim for $5 million of coverage. And so that's a rule of thumb. That's the simple way of doing it. But there's more to it, right? You and your financial professional will calculate the needs you have in every situation, and everyone's different, right? So here's the basic factors in calculating your life insurance. Number one, age, right? Where are you in life right now? How old are you? Health. How's your health? How much debt do you have, including your mortgage? Right? That's debt. Whether it's good or bad, is debt. How many dependents you have? What is your income? And what is the role in your business? And honestly, what is the role in your household? Right? Are you the main provider of income to your household? And those are the biggest factors to actually calculate life insurance. I have to admit, 10 times your income is more coverage than I could have guessed. That has to be really expensive, right? Well, there are two very common assumptions about life insurance that are often wrong, Dana. And here's the assumptions. Life insurance need cost assumption paradox. The same people who underestimate how much life insurance they need also have a tendency to overestimate how much life insurance costs. These two assumptions can prevent families from putting proper protection in place. So guys, what I'm giving you guys is really a tool for you to handle objections in the field. You guys see? So whenever people ask you, oh, I think life insurance is too expensive, I think that's probably too much life insurance that's recommended. Typically, these people have something in common, and that's that they're making assumptions that are putting proper protection as not a priority, right? Only 59% of Americans have life insurance, and about half of those are underinsured. So technically speaking, but less than 30% of America is basically uninsured, right? Or underinsured. So one out of three people that are around you don't have life insurance. No, wait, 2 out of 3 people don't have life insurance. Isn't that crazy? Or don't have enough life insurance. That's an amazing concept. So if you're gonna go out prospecting and like you're just focused on producing, for example, because you need to hit a point goal. If you're going for your SMD promotion, right? Or you're going out there and we want to talk to people and help families. Guess what? 2 out of 3 people do not have life insurance. Guess what, guys? We help people with this stuff, protecting their income and protecting their wealth. I'm guessing the amount of life insurance you need and cost depends on your individual financial picture. And that's exactly right. It depends on that. So you and your financial professional should discuss the following questions. By the way, folks, these are questions as financial professionals that you should have in your toolbox. What are your short-term and long-term debts, loans, and goals, right? What are your short-term and long-term debts, right? So your long-term debt more than likely is your mortgage. Probably if you just got a new car, that's a mid to long-term debt. What are your debts? What are your loans? What are your goals? How much is your mortgage or your rent payment? How old are your children right now? And how much were the education costs? Do you have any assets to help cover your funeral costs, like your emergency funds? And this right here is actually how you're going to calculate your insurable need. I've looked at life insurance online before, but I got overwhelmed with all the choices. There are a million types of life insurance. Actually, there's only 2 types of life insurance, right? There's only 2, but we're going to summarize this because a lot of people get confused. But if you want to summarize life insurance, it comes like this. There's temporary life insurance and there's permanent life insurance, okay? They're basically both necessary. We're not going to be on this call and tell you one is more important than the other. But one concept that I would just want you to ask yourself is, would you rather protect your family permanently or temporarily? And that'll help you decide to have a balance of both, okay? Let's go over temporary life insurance, which is term life insurance. So term life insurance, if you guys don't know, These are like the OGs, originals life insurance that were developed. And basically, they're the most economical life insurance policies out there. That's why they're so popular, because they're cheap. But you are only protected temporarily. So the word term is basically a specific period of time that you're insured for, 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years. That's how it is. And it's most affordable life insurance available because it basically gives you a death benefit for that period of time. The thing is, term policies do expire, and 98% of them do. 98% of people outlive their term. Therefore, they never get a chance to actually use their life insurance, which is a good thing because that means they are alive, right? But here's the thing. Some people are like, man, I feel like I'm throwing money away, right? Well, here's the thing. You're throwing money away in other things as well, right? Your car insurance. You're paying for your car insurance. No one's ever going to refund you that money, right? And the reality is we're doing this in other places, but there's other options as well. Term insurance is good if it's economical, if you need a large death benefit, right? If your insurable need is high, but you only have a couple bucks to put aside, term is probably the answer for you. Why term life insurance? It's possible to secure a substantial amount of financial protection with a small monthly payment, right? This can make it a good fit for people who have limiting budgets during time of high financial responsibility, while you're raising your children, right? To protect your family from high cost of childcare. This is definitely a good time to get term. If you owe a mortgage right now, maybe you guys bought a new home during this time, guess what? You should probably have a policy that will cover the total mortgage, so your family's not in debt with that mortgage, or they have to sell that home once something happens. Paying for college, protect your family from the burden of tuition and debt, right? Or if you're running a company, guess what? We're basically running a company here. We're running a business. Protect your business partners from the cost of filling your role. So why term life insurance? All these topics are why. What happens when the term ends? Well, here's a first scenario. When the term life insurance ends, you no longer need term life insurance, for example. That's what most people say. If your children are grown and independent and their education and your homes are paid off, your financial responsibility may have decreased to a point where you don't need more term life insurance. That's basically the first scenario. You won't need life insurance, right? So you're going to insure yourself for the most critical times of your life. Well, what if you still need term? You still need insurance. Well, after your first term ends, you may still have no mortgage. You may still have a mortgage, which is, by the way, guys, more than likely, most people have a mortgage. That's when most people, how many times do people refinance? How many times do people continue to stay in debt, right? Like literally, who do you know that gets a loan and pays it off in 30 years? No, it doesn't happen that often, and most people continue to get into debt as they get older. Your term life insurance ended, right? But you're a single income couple. You have grown grandchildren at home or children at home. You run a business that continues to rely on you. So you have to consider these factors. For reasons like this, you may wish to purchase a new term policy. However, you must qualify medically. However, you're older now. And if you don't qualify, a new term policy may not be an option because it's too expensive. If you do qualify, the new policy will cost more. The older you are, the more expensive term insurance will be. Right? So if you guys are on this call, you're in your 20s, you have a lot of responsibilities. Maybe you just have some kids. I'm like Ash, right? Ash about to have another kid, married, has a family, all these responsibilities. She might need a big term policy. Obviously, a permanent policy will be good, but it just depends on their budget and affordability and everything, right? Maybe a mixture of both will also work. And so it's important to understand these things. And here's why. This is called the X curve. So if you guys have been in this business for like 3 more years, this was all actually on our original flip chart. And this is something that we taught families every single day, just how we're doing now with our new flip chart. So this is the financial X wave, also known as a curve, the what was it called again? The X curve, something like that. That's financial timeline basically. But usually on the left side of the timeline is when we're younger, right? When we have a lot of responsibilities, raising a family, maybe we're just starting our businesses, we're just starting to work in our careers, and we have less wealth, right? So we have a lot of responsibilities, but less wealth. As we get older, those financial timelines are going to cross. You guys see how they cross in the middle? And typically, as we're older, we should be creating more wealth. Why? Because we become wiser investors, right? We invest our money. We're excelling in our career, hopefully, and we're making more money. And our responsibilities dwindle. Why? Because, well, number one, our kids are older now. They become independent. Number two, we're paying off our debt. We're not in a much, we paid off our cars. We're paying off our homes. We have less responsibility as we're older. That should technically happen. The sweet spot for term insurance is when you're on the left side. That's the sweet spot. The sweet spot for permanent insurance is actually throughout the whole lifetime of the whole picture, right? The sweet spot for term insurance is on the left side because that's right there when we have less wealth and more responsibilities. But if you can afford permanent insurance, and actually not even if you can afford it, once you understand how permanent insurance works, then you're actually going to want to participate in it, right? So term insurance and permanent insurance go hand in hand. They actually complement each other, especially when you're building your life and your career. And what I was going to say is this. Most people are going in parallel lines. Their responsibilities are high, their wealth is staying the same, all right? And they're basically not having these paths cross because, and that's where the business opportunity comes in because they're not increasing their income properly. Permanent life insurance. Let's talk about permanent life insurance. Like term, it provides a death benefit to protect your family financially. However, is designated for life, not just a term. Term insurance is good to protect your life in case you die prematurely. Permanent life insurance is for you to enjoy that actual life insurance and its benefits. So here's a cool little timeline that basically puts a visual of how your policy works. So by the way, these policies are pretty dynamic, but basically they has three main things, and it's actually listed on there. The next slide actually has it on there, but long-term care, supplemental tax-free retirement income, and tax-free death benefit for your years. Think of permanent insurance like a lifelong strategy that can protect your family today, secure your wealth in the future, and provide your heirs after you're gone. All right, that's a good punchline, right? So permanent life insurance could protect your family today, secure your wealth for your future, right? And basically live an inheritance after you're gone. Here are the three important benefits of permanent life insurance. Number one, permanent life insurance provides you with lifelong coverage. Number two, it has an optional long-term care rider. We learned about long-term care, right? We learned that what was the percentage? 60% of, or something like that, more than 60%. Yeah, almost 70% of people over the age of 65 are going to need long-term care. Guess what? Permanent life insurance has that. And the third benefit is cash value premium flexibility. So let's dissect that. Benefits that can be included with permanent life insurance: zero market risk, long-term care, tax-free growth, tax-free income, and a tax-free legacy. Right? But it's not possible to get all those benefits with one financial strategy, is it? Actually, it is possible, right? So guys, here's what I want to ask you. If you just take out the word permanent life insurance and you look at all those benefits, would you be interested in that? Right? Like, forget about life insurance. I want long-term care. I want tax-free growth and tax-free income and a tax-free legacy. Guess what, guys? That's actually a tool that we use, but it's actually, masked through life insurance. So what can be the cash value benefit of permanent life insurance do for you? Okay, so a portion of your monthly premium, when you actually have permanent life insurance, a portion of your monthly premium is set aside, and that goes into an interest-bearing account that grows over the life of your policy. The money in this account can fund your future, can fund things like a car, a vacation, a wedding, an investment, the education for your kids. At retirement age, you can throw the switch of your policy and start taking out tax-free income as long as the policy is sufficient, right? So if you guys really haven't seen this concept before, this is why we break it down one-on-one to every client that we sit down with. And we let them know, look, permanent life insurance, it's a tool to build wealth, but also to use it while you're alive during your future years. Doesn't necessarily have to be for retirement, but some people design it for that, but can be used for anything in the future. It doesn't have a specific use. It can be used for certain different things, right? And I know a lot of high net worth people that have used this for investments, especially. And they use it to create their own bank, in other words, right? They create their own family bank. They create their life insurance policies to be able to control their money without the IRS being in the picture. And they use it to control their own economy, right? They borrow against it, they put money back in, and they do all these things to literally have more control of their financial future. Powerful advantage of cash value, tax-free growth, creditor-free, zero market risk, and tax-free income. I get how life insurance products protect me financially, but like, what if my wife or I suffer from Alzheimer's or dementia? Wouldn't the cost of nursing home wipe me out? How do I protect my family from that? Well, for you, Hector, you're referring to what's called long-term care. And here it is, 70%, yeah. 70% of people over 65 years old will actually need long-term care. 8% of people over 55 have purchased long-term care insurance. Guys, this is a wide open marketplace. Man, if you're on this call and you actually have an entrepreneurial mindset, you're thinking like, this is an extraordinary business opportunity to help people. Like this right now, there's so many people that need this as a tool. This is a great opportunity to increase my income by helping people educate themselves with insurance. All right. I mean, yeah, and by the way, in Washington, if you live in Washington State, it's actually mandatory to have long-term care, right? And it might happen in other states, we don't know, but the reality is it's a huge marketplace right now as we speak, especially with people living longer, right? So consider getting long-term care. Long-term care insurance helps cover out-of-pocket expenses for qualified long-term care services, including a nursing home, home health care, assisted living, and adult daycare. So I know some of you guys on this call actually work as home care nurses or practitioners, whatever it is, but you understand more than anyone how important this is, right? You understand how expensive it is, right? So my grandma Rosa could have used this. It's for older people who can't get out of bed, get dressed, or feed themselves, right? But actually, it's not just for the elderly. In fact, 37% of people who receive long-term care are under the age of 65, because you never know when a medical emergency might happen, right? Consider securing LTC insurance when you're younger and healthier, when it's most affordable and it's easiest to qualify, right? So if you're thinking like, oh my God, my grandma can't get out of bed, can't do this. Well, for her to qualify now for long-term care might be a little challenging, but you do qualify for long-term care younger. So you don't have to actually, find yourself in a position where you won't be able to qualify. This is good stuff. The average long-term care need, if more than 1 year, is 3.9 years. How can you recover from hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills? Guys, this is the average cost of adult daycare, assisted. Oh, you guys need to screenshot this one. This is good to use. The average cost of adult daycare, assisted living, right, like a private room, home health services, nursing home, or a complete, like a semi-private room or a private room. Incredible. $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year. That's a lot of money, guys, for long-term care services, right? And if you ever experience this, man, like you've lived it, right? If you haven't, man, I hope you don't. But the reality is, statistics say 7 out of 10 people will. And so it's important to understand that and do something about it, right? Which long-term care insurance option would you purchase? Option 1 or option 2? Ooh, this is good. Option 1 is a traditional standalone policy, right? If you don't have life insurance, you can actually get long-term care without life insurance. The challenge there is that they're typically very expensive, but they're also out there. Option 2 could actually add it on as a rider to a permanent life insurance policy, and you basically pay very fractions of a cost because you're actually sheltering it inside an insurance policy. So you can get long-term care two ways: your own long-term care policy, or add it on to a permanent life insurance policy, right? Option 1 starts off with low premiums, but insurance companies raise the rates usually. There's a chance of paying care out of pocket, then getting reimbursed later. The 90-day waiting period for long-term care policies to activate themselves also happens. And since there's a 70% chance you'll need it, there's a 30% chance you won't. You could spend thousands of dollars of premiums and get nothing in return. That's a standalone long-term care policy. So you basically, there's a 30% chance you'll never use it, right? Option 2, if you add it as a rider, right? Life insurance companies typically don't raise their rates for policyholders. Some insurance companies pay you money to cover long-term care expenses, and you can get significant savings by coupling your life insurance with long-term care protection. Therefore, if you're one of the lucky 30%ers that won't need long-term care, your premiums aren't wasted because that money's actually growing in a tax-free account, like we said earlier. So it's kind of cool, right? So this is not financial advice, right? But you want to consider option 1 or option 2 and make a decision based off which one's better for you, right? And then also permanent life insurance policies also have critical and chronic illness riders. And guys, this is super educational for us as agents to know this stuff. Critical illness riders, what they actually do is they enable the insured to collect a portion of the death benefit to cover expenses diagnosed with critical illnesses like heart attack, stroke, and cancer. Chronic illness is something that basically, produces over time. That's ALS, diabetes, and Alzheimer's. Right? So it's basically based off the illness, right? So with that being said, folks, I want you guys to really just take consideration of everything you learned today and just realize, like, oh my goodness, if you're on this call and you work within our company and you realize, God, I actually have a license that helps people with this stuff, right? Use it this month, right? Go out there and talk to people and use this stuff and make sure your family's first protected. Make sure you're protected with this stuff, and just evaluate every single person around you and actually consider sharing this information with them. If you're a guest on this call and you haven't really seen any of this stuff, well, whoever invited you, say thank you to them, right? And let them know, hey, man, I would love to get a chance to learn more about this. Next couple of weeks, guys, we're going to be learning about actually emergency funds and debt management and really covering that topic. And then the last sessions that we're going to have are about building wealth, understanding the financial concepts that we teach families, protecting your wealth, protecting your income, and actually accumulating a tax-free retirement. So with that being said, folks, that right there is the last slide for class, basically this class so far. And Adam, you want to close it out with a couple things, anything, or? Perfect. We're going to have Adam come up here. But guys, I just want to tell you, we are so blessed to be part of a company that literally empowers you to have more control of your financial future. But we're also part of a company that gives you the power to be in control of your income, right? While everyone else is out there, trying to figure it out, hoping the government doesn't shut down their business, hoping they don't get fired. Guess what? We have control of that stuff, and it's important to take advantage of it. So with that being said, I'm so blessed to introduce the man that actually gave all of us all this opportunity, and his name is Adam Mockett.
Thank you. Wasn't that, man, let's give it up for Daniel. That was really good. Put it in the chat. Make sure to message him, tell him how much good feedback in his Instagram. But I will tell you, man, who wants to have some $1 million babies? So good, right? When I was, when all my kids are born, I've set up IULs for each and every one of them, and it's pretty amazing. And a great example of it was Justice, and I think a big reason why she got started with our business is when her brother passed away, she found out that he had a policy, and she also had a policy, and both of them had over $30,000 saved up, and it was a short period of time. It wasn't when they were babies. Like they got it probably, I don't know exactly when, but probably like 5 years or something, maybe 10 at the most, and already $30,000. So it's pretty spectacular. Imagine when you have a baby, that 18 years, allowing that to compound and grow, how powerful that is. So I know Ashley Stewart on Colin Hocko's team, that every single time she meets with a client, she gets a policy for their kids, every single one of them. She set it up for her kids. She has two, about to have her baby, and it's just pretty amazing to see that even worst case scenario, and say, you know what, WG isn't for me. I learned a lot, but it's not for me. Her kids are going to be really grateful that she got started in this business and set up a policy, because they're going to be set. They'll be able to retire, and it's pretty powerful. So thanks again, Daniel. That was really good. And I know that this ping pong tournament is going to be really cool. If you could come, please come. Everyone, even if you suck at ping pong like me, it'll still be fun. It's more about just having energy and excitement, and seeing James Goby lose to Scott Maycorn in front of everybody again. We'll see how it goes. There's some of them pretty good. It'll be fun. And let's go big or go home. And hey, thank you so much.
Hey everyone, good morning. Hey, my name's James Goby. I didn't want to leave anybody out that wasn't here in person, but we're actually going to celebrate our CEO. It was his birthday the other day, and we just wanted to say thank you. We wanted to say happy birthday. We wanted to say we love you. And even though all the people in Long Beach and on Zoom land are not here, again, I didn't want to exclude you, but we are going to exclude you from the delicious Nothing Bundt cakes that we have for you, that hopefully you will share with me. Yeah, I want to sing happy birthday to this guy, because I know how much Tristan loves singing. So, on three, 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Adam. Happy birthday to you.
If you're here, get some Bundt cakes. All right, see you guys later. Keep the meeting going. There might be some breakouts still going on. Let's put our hands in real quick. And let's say $1 Million Baby on 3. $1 Million Baby on 3.
1, 2, 3. $1 million baby.
Ooh, baby, baby. Ooh, baby. Job on time.
I was like, hi, Sadie. She was like, James, guess what? And she ran out. She's like,